President of Panama, el Presidente Martín Torrijos Espino.
No, thank you. I want to thank Shakira, Alejandro, and everybody from Alas for sharing with us the opportunity to reiterate our compromise of having a better Latin America, especially caring about our children. I am an economist, but I'm the sort of economist that understand that it's only an instrument to make the center of its purpose to have a better standard of living for our people. So I guess I'm in your size on the economist. Voy a cambiar a español.
Now I'm going to shift languages. I believe that it's a great commitment what we have taken, especially to point out the involvement of the public sector, of the private sector in great goals that unite us. Before I go forward, I'd like to let you know that for my government, for my country, it's our own commitment, which has translated in concrete actions that have exceeded in benefits for our children. And I'd like to introduce two amazing Panamanian artists that have also adopted these commitments and are here with us, Danilo Perez and Ruben Blades. Since I'm not very good at giving a speech, I brought help along with me. Our countries have grown, unfortunately, within a framework of great inequalities. Some of us have started correcting these inequalities promptly. Others, unfortunately, had to start by rushing in order to catch up and bring back hopes to many of our fellow citizens. Specifically, our country, let's say that the situation 4 years ago, we had a 12% of unemployment. The last figures indicated a 38% of poverty, which affected the children, women, and the macroeconomic tools amounted to 5.5 deficit of the GDP with a debt rate of 70%, which allowed very small margin to dedicate our efforts to social policies with a serious problem as far as social security. With this understanding, the first thing we needed to do is have an X-ray of the situation. Of course, being here at Columbia University, it's obvious that everybody knows what needs to be done with the government when it comes to the government. But in many of our societies, our institutions don't work well. And although we all know that we need to work in order to help the youth and our children, many times we don't know who they are by name or last name, in details. We don't know the purpose of our work. So we started the process of becoming clean. Our country, even though has great opportunities in business with the channel, with great perspectives, it's a country that at the same time had people that didn't even know how to survive, together with people that had an excess. So we started a process identifying the targets of the government action. We talked and we were aware of poverty figures, but we didn't know who our poor were. And through this program that we all have and we all share, and some started early on, in Panama we call it the network of opportunities. An example similar to what Mexico has done, that some Latin American countries have, like President Sachs has told us, or Chile, that have done it very successfully. And now we have found out who are these 18,000 families, what are they made up of, what's their names, where they live, so that we can focus the government action and be efficient eradicating poverty. And from then on, after a traumatic process of fixing this social tool in order to have a resource and have a social policy that could be consistent, so we have been able to devote our efforts through fiscal reform that allowed us to produce savings, to reduce unemployment from 12% to 6%. That has allowed us to go from a 5% deficit to a surplus of 3.5%, which has allowed us to drop down the debt to 46. Not to have a better rating, but in order to have better resources and face poverty in a very efficient way, so that we can have a country with equal opportunities, because this is what the region lacks, equal opportunities, so that everybody can develop consistently. That's the reason why we all have alignment of opinions. We have developed health programs, such as free coverage for all pregnant women, in order to take care not just of prenatal care, but also nutrition during pregnancy. We've had free education for all children under 5 years old, and we have stressed the nutrition program for children under 3 years old. And likewise, we have also launched a vaccination program to prevent deaths that would have been unavoidable without the vaccine. The special vaccine called rotavirus has prevented the death of 250 kids per year. A simple resource, and it wasn't new. And the vaccination that we are introducing towards the end of this year of the HPV, which prevents the second cancer that affects the largest number of women, mothers in this country. So now we can deal with the costs and prices of the generics, which is a different set of problems, because some countries with this last vaccination that we are buying now, for some people, they had to spend 100, others 30. So now we have an integration process so that in other countries with a higher number of citizens can have the same price for the same vaccine. But this is some part of the challenges.
We've also made considerable investments for new school structures. When we came to power, we had only 50% coverage for children that were of preschool age, but today this is over 65%. I hope next year, when my government period ends, I hope to have reached 70%. We've begun a grant program where we give 170,000 grants, and we have only 3 million people in the country, and we have 800,000 students. That's important, so we can guarantee poverty is not an obstacle for children to develop fully. We began a grant program for students for doctorates and thesis or masters, and I hope one day we can send students to Columbia University. They're getting postdoc